like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Good evening, people. Good evening to my Cowboy Nation. Good evening to all the people out there in Cowboy land. We are glad to be a part of this live stream. I always forget to turn on my equipment before I start talking on live. But man, good evening, man. Good evening for everybody that's coming into the chat. We're starting. You see, Coach Marv got a little intro going on. Got a little intro going on, man. So Kevin, I'm trying to get a little. I'm trying to get a little advanced, man. Hey, man, shout out to one of my longtime frat brothers, the Phi Beta Sigma man, Dr. Robinson, Dr. Lee Robinson, that put that intro together for me, man. We'll be advertising him, man. He's coming out with an album. He's releasing his first album, man, on July the 1st, and I will let people know, man, where y'all can go and try to support this brother, man. Very talented brother, man. But I'm gonna get in here this day because I know I got some of my other content creators got big time shows coming up, and I wanted to get in here, man, and try to get in here and talk about some things. We're gonna talk about a little defense today. We're gonna talk about some of the things that I have that some of the stuff I have heard and talked to some inside information inside the building with some people that I know that's involved with this team. Not saying I got a whole lot of insight. Some of the stuff it's stuff that I already thought already, but it was good to confirm some of the things that I was thinking. We're gonna talk about some of the stuff that I saw, some of the things that I kind of turned my interest to certain things, and I posted on Twitter. So we're gonna talk about three topics today, man. Three topics that we're gonna talk about today, and let me just show you the topic, and then we'll talk about them as we go over them. We'll talk about them as we go over these topics. But the first topic we're gonna talk about today, when we're talking about defense, we're gonna talk about the 3-4 defense and Micah. You know, Cowboys have historically run a 4-3 defense, and that's somewhat Eberflus base, but he has had some experiences with a 3-4, and he's really a guy that bases off his 3-4 or his defense based off of what his personnel says. And we're gonna unpack some things about our personnel, and then we're gonna unpack about some things that I've heard that was very interesting. And then we're going to talk about how all these defensive fronts and the direction that we're going in defense, how all that affects our best player on defense. When you talk about offense, when you find out what direction you go, when we talk about offense, what direction we go on offense, we all try to figure out how that affects our quarterback, Dak Prescott. So when we talk about defense, we got to find out how, whatever direction we go, how that affects Michael Parsons, and how can that make him better. And we're going to talk about how certain defenses, maybe the 3-4, the 4-3, can make him a bigger impact player than when he was, and to move him to another level of playing. And then once we stop talking about that, we'll move on to the next topic. And the next topic I wanted to talk about tonight, and we're gonna touch on this one is player acquisitions. I posted something about Jalen Ramsey. I heard some things about Jalen Ramsey that was eye opening, and it was based off what I had already said. And I think, in my mind, I'm gonna unpack again why I think that if we can make that move, how that would be great. And then we're gonna talk about other moves. There's been a lot of interesting stuff going out there. Jair Alexander out there. There's a linebacker out there. And it's just that the Cowboys are going to be linked to everybody who gets released. And we got to be very careful that we don't, that with buyers beware on certain things. But this is not, when I go over this with others and I talk about Jalen Ramsey, I am not going against anybody else who's saying that, hey, they feel that it's something else that they might need. I'm just going to point out the fact of where I feel and where I feel about why in some areas we don't, or I feel that we can wait a little bit. But everybody who's talking about getting somebody is all talking about trying to improve this team. So, but sometimes we have to unpack it and listen, and we'll listen. Sometimes we'll come off the ledge with certain things, and sometimes we'll get on it. But I'm going to talk about some of the others that some people have been talking about, other positions, and we'll talk about Jalen Ramsey, and I'm going to present my case again about Jalen Ramsey. And then the final thing we're going to talk about today is trust our coaching. We're going to talk about trusting our coaching. We have a brand new coaching staff here, and we're going to talk about what it means about trusting our coaching. I'm a former coach. I understand that. I'm hard on certain coaches. I was hard on the last regime here in certain areas, certain coaches. But you have to give them an opportunity, and you got to give them the opportunity to do what they do. But we're going to talk about trusting our coaching. And those are three things we're going to talk about. And basically, we're going to face that when we talk about the coaching and the acquisitions, we're going to be talking about basically on the defensive end. So let's start off the show. Let's start off what I was talking about. We defense. Defense. You're gonna see in the name of this live is, let's talk defense. And I got a hashtag, and I'm gonna start making probably some t-shirts. Hashtag defense is a weapon. And I've been saying for the longest, and y'all can, some of y'all can testify that Coach Marv is still going to say the same thing again, say the same thing again and over and over and over again, that we're going as far as our defense takes us. Now, we can talk about if we're not going that far, we can talk about offense. We're going as far as our defense takes us. And if we're really honest with ourselves, and I've said this before in the other lives, when we're honest with ourselves, every year when we have faltered in the playoffs, most of the years, our defense has let us down. And even the years that we want to say that, man, our offense didn't let us down. I think one of the years we played San Francisco, and we played in San Francisco, and we said, well, our offense didn't score any points, but our defense had chances to make plays, and it didn't make them. And it's going to take a collective thing, and that's saying with defense win championships. People have been saying it for the longest, but people have always been trying to figure out how that they have always try to improve that saying wrong. But time and time again, defense comes back to win championships. So I want to make sure we talk about this defense, because I want to put an emphasis on our defense, and I want this coaching staff to put an emphasis on this defense, and I want our nation out there to put an emphasis on defense, because I want them to feel like the it's on their back if we can get a championship. And if they feel that way, they'll perform that way. I don't want them to feel that, hey man, it's out to the quarterback or it's out to the offense or if we gonna score or what that gonna do or what. I want them to say, hey, they don't score, they don't win. And we can score points too. That's what makes defense so great, man. Defense can score points. They can stop a team and they can score. Offense only got one way to go. Scoring points. Now they may try to hold the ball and maybe try to keep the other team away from about possessing the ball, but offense got one way to go. Defense can stop people and they can score. I just want to make a case in point when I talk about defense before we get into our topics. There's a Super Bowl, there's 2 Super Bowls that the Cowboys won, where there's 1 Super Bowl that the Cowboys won. Well, there's 2. We have got 2 of the Super Bowls that we hold the record for the most turnovers created by our defense in 2 Super Bowls. We almost outscored the offense in our second Super Bowl against Buffalo when we scored 56 points. If Leon let the crosses of goal line, the defense almost outscored the offense. And they shut down a goal line stance. So this is what makes defense so great. And then defense can set offense up to get easy points. Defense affects the game in more ways than an offense. That's why they say defense wins championships. They can get turnovers and get the ball in plus territory where the offense only can come out and they got to do is kick field goal. They can get a turnover and turn it into points. They can get a fumble, turn it back. They can get an intercept, turn it back. They can stop a team. The defense is part of punt block where they could block punts. They can block extra points. That's why defense is such vital to winning. So when I talk about this defense, I'm very serious about this defense, and I think for all the people out there that have that have followed me, and like I said, I want you to like, comment, and subscribe. Please share. If you're on this platform now, share this. Share this to your platform, to YouTube or wherever, and tell everybody that Coach Marv is out there, and tell them how you feel about Coach Marv, and see if they get in there and listen, and see if they subscribe and get a part. But the defense, again, this team is going to go as far as our defense takes us. And I want us to have that type of attitude. Because if we got a monster defense, it makes the game so much easier for the offense to do their thing. So, getting to our topics, and we wanted to go to the first topic. And the first topic we want to talk about is the 3-4 defense. And then I want to, now I'm going back to this sharing stuff on the screens, but hopefully I don't lose y'all this time and get frozen up. But I'm gonna go to share, because we're gonna look at my Twitter account, and I'm gonna share some of the stuff on my Twitter account that I had, and see if I can get to it. See if I can get to some of the stuff that I had on my Twitter account where I talked about Jalen Ramsey on Twitter. Maybe I need to get off of this. And I hope y'all still can see me. But I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna get off and I'm gonna go to and see. I'm talking to you. I can't see y'all, but I hope y'all can see me. And I want to talk about when I talked about the 3-4 defense. I posted this post right here, and I hope y'all can see the post that I posted on Twitter. I mean, on X. I keep saying Twitter. I know they're gonna otherwise they're gonna jump on me for not saying it, not calling their stuff the right way. Um, their stuff is X, is not Twitter. Um, and it's not. Oh shucks, we spinning and we spinning and spinning. Well, we're not gonna share that. I don't want to lose y'all into a point where, like I did last live, I want to try to share something and then my computer froze up. But I talked about it. I posted something about Matt Eaglesfoo's defense. I went and got some information on Matt Eaglesfoo's, and Matt Eaglesfoo's came here. He had about 3 or 4 years under Buddy Ryan's son Rex Ryan when they played had 3-4. And then he went to Indianapolis when he started 4-3. But he does dibble and dab with some 3-4 defenses based off his personnel. And I made a post out there saying it was very interesting when he made that post, when I saw that. Because then I looked at the defensive end we got out of Boston College this year, and I heard at the end of the first mini camp, they had him playing linebacker. And yes, he's a very small guy. He's a kind of guy with small nature, but they had him playing linebacker. And then I started thinking about, look at our personnel. We added a linebacker in Murray, who's been having outstanding uh, OTAs. We added a linebacker that from Chicago, who's got rave reviews about how well he plays the run and how well he plays linebacker. You got Leofow, the linebacker of last year that showed great promise, and he's gotten bigger, and he's going to be and he's very aggressive. Then you got coming back probably sometime this year, Overshawn. You got Bud Johnson. You talking about Michael Parsons, because I'm hearing them calling him a linebacker more. And then you talking about, you brought Dante Fowler in, but you got to understand Dante Fowler has some linebacker play too, because he played an outside linebacker as well. So you're talking about your basis of your defense is going to be the strength of your defense right now is your linebacker core, and most of them are flying around. And anytime your basis of your strength is, you want to get those people on the field. And we talked about it last year, and I know some of you out there are gonna say, "Well, Coach, I don't believe in no 3-4," because I know the first thing we're gonna talk about is, oh, we ain't got that nose tackle. I think we're giving Mozzie Smith a lot of bad rep, but I think he's gonna prove a lot of people wrong because he's healthy. He's healthy with confidence in the last 6 games because it took him a while to get healthy. And now he's healthy because he didn't have to have shoulder surgery. He had shoulder surgery going into offseason last year. And anytime a defensive lineman has shoulder surgery, it takes them 5 to 6 months if they're coming off shoulder surgery to get their strength back and to get them back to rolling. Because he went a whole offseason not lifting. So you started out lifting when the season started, when you were active. You can't, and it's hard to gain your strength back when you coming off shoulder surgery and perform. It took him a while, and by the time he got into better shape, and we got into the last 6-7 games, his number was good, and it was on the ascending because you think about Mozzie, and I'm gonna say this again: players mature the same way. If you look at Mozzie was a late bloomer in high school. he started dominating in his last 2 or 3 years in high school, which got him to Michigan. He didn't dominate right off the bat in Michigan. And he had a slow start in Michigan, but he got to a point where they got him a draft in the first round. And he's gotten better every year. And I'm looking for him to even get better this year. And then the backup guys we got in there, Rogers and the Dillard, I think these guys are in their second year. Then you got two rookies. Yes, we are young, but what they're going to ask them to do is we in the 3-4, the 3-4 that I think that they're going to be in, we're not asking them to take a lot of double teams. Because I really think we're going to go in the 3-4 where we're going to go 3-eye on the guards with Osa is a dominant 3-eye over the guard. You're going to have problems with him, and you're going to have problems with Solomon Thompson on the other side in that position. That's going to make sure that your nose guy is not going to get double teamed. Because if you double team there, now you're asking the guards to block them guys one-on-one. And that's not a recipe to live off of. So I could see some 3-4. But I made that post, and then I started talking to somebody. What I said, I talked to somebody who's had a little inside information. And they confirmed to me that the Cowboys are running multiple fronts this year. There's not going to be no solidified 4-3. They're going to run some 3-4. And whatever really works may becomes their base. So how would a 3-4 help Micah? Where's Micah in all this equation? Well, Micah's in this equation is because I believe this defensive staff, matter of fact, I know this defensive staff wants to use Micah as, I think Boss Cowboy bought the term up, and I think he locked the term in, and it's not in a way of saying in a derogatory way. We want Micah to be the queen on the chessboard. And if anybody out there play chess, the queen on the chessboard can go everywhere, can move any type of way. All the rest of the chess pieces only can move a certain type of way. But the queen can move in any type of way and do all the movements, and it's so free moving, and it's so powerful because it can move it anywhere. It can get to any spot on the board. Now, why is the queen on the chessboard so powerful? Is because any strategy that you're trying to do against another opponent in a chess game, you got to take in account of where their queen is at. You can't make an attack on another chess player to try to get their king and not account for where their queen is at. Why? Because their queen is dangerous to take any of your move and destroy your moves, because they can go anywhere and take out vital chess pieces on your chessboard, on your moves. So you got to take account of where the queen is of the other chess player. So this is where when we got that phrase about being the queen on the chessboard is we want Micah to be a part of anything that you talk about doing offensively. You got to account for Micah. You got to find him. You got to account for him. And you got to make sure that you got him handled, because he can destroy anything you do. That's why we want him to be a queen on the chessboard. And that's why we want him to be that person that possibly can move. Well, I know everybody's gonna say, "Well, coach, here we go again, going down this rabbit hole again about Micah being a linebacker, Micah moving." Coach, he is a defensive end. That's where he wants to be. That's where he's gonna be. Is he gonna be a is he gonna be effective doing that? Is he gonna be effective doing that? So again, a 3-4 is going to alleviate the problem of what we was talking about when some of them came out here and talking about defensive ends being on the sides. Because if you go with the 3-4 with the tackles in the D ends in the 3-eye on the guards, it's very hard to the power and the strength of Osa and the power and the strength of Solomon is going to be hard to deal with. And if you block down on them, you're going to have what you're going to have then is you're going to make tight ends block Michael Parsons, uh, Dante Fowler, Sam Williams. And again, like I talked about in the last night when I talked about defense, when you talking about big on big, our defense outside linebackers or defensive ends, regardless of who they are, if you're playing outside linebacker or defensive end, if you're playing defensive end in this league or any other league, you tell people that you must block me with a big. You cannot block me with a tight end and live with that. Now that may have you can't say, well, that's what we're gonna do all game long because I'm gonna destroy any tight end. And I'm gonna tell you something. If you go back and watch the film, one of the best run defenders in Cowboys for the last 3 years only weighed 100 about 245 pounds, 250 pounds. And I'm not telling you something that I'm guessing. I'm telling you from inside the building that I know that that's all DeMarcus Lawrence wore. That's all he weighed. And you could not block him in the run game. And in these days and times, there's very few power schemes. But a 3-4 will help put your outside linebackers in winnable blocking situations. And I think from an aspect, I think what we're gonna find out is that Osa is much better than what y'all think he is, and we're gonna find out Solomon Thompson, his veteran, is gonna be much better than what you think they are. And I understand what we have to say. A lot of people gonna say, man, we need to see it. But I think Michael is gonna make everybody better because the attention that you have to pay to him. If you get him in this, and if you put him in this 3-4, he's still gonna rush the passer on a multitude of occasions. But he's gonna be coming from situations where you're not gonna be able to see him. He's going to be in a situation where you're not going to be able to double team him. I was on the show with Big Time Show, the Big Time Show today. He called in and he called me because we were talking about Micah, and we was talking about how generational Micah could be, and I was talking about how Micah could be even a bigger force if he affected more of the defensive play, of more of the offense. And I've been talking for the last 2 years, and I said Micah could be the first player in NFL history, not just NFL history, to have a season where you have 135 tackles, 17 sacks, 17 and a half sacks. I ain't got to get no 20. 17 sacks and 3 interceptions. There hadn't been a defensive player in the history of the NFL that has done that in the season. Yeah, there's been players that had 135 tackles, but there hadn't been a player that got over 15 to 16, 17 sacks. Michael's averaging, and when he was his first year, over half his sacks came on blitzes up the middle because guards and centers cannot block him because they got to block him one-on-one. There is no double teaming him in the middle of the field. And I made the instance of saying when he affects more plays and when you have to find him and he can affect more plays, it makes him make more plays. As well, it makes everybody else better because sometimes you overcompensate for him and then you allow other people to dominate. But just putting him in one spot, I can scheme around him. I can limit his effectiveness to the football game. Yes, he may still have some effect, but I can limit him from dominating the game. As I talked about San Francisco, we wonder why he's never had a great game against San Francisco. San Francisco offense is built where they're not going to allow defensive end to dominate the game. Their passes come out fast. They're going to run the ball enough to keep you locked in so you can't just sprint off the ball. They're going to always keep a tight end on you or somewhere and come back and cross block on you so you don't run the play down from behind. We run the other way. They're going to frustrate you. And then they got a guy named Trent Williams. If you line up on his side, if the ball's getting out, and then we're going to take our chances when we go deep, a longer pass route, and we're going to say, hey, we're not asking Trent Williams to win every battle because we just asking him to win maybe 1 out of 5 passes because the rest of them going to come out fast. They're not going to allow defensive end to dominate the game. But Michael Parsons was all over the field from linebacker to defensive end, coming and blitzing up the middle, getting in the passing lane, being able to stop the sweeps on the outside, being able to when you try to throw the ball to McCaffrey, being able to guard McCaffrey. When he is that way, he could dominate a football game and give a team like San Francisco problems. But he's not going to dominate a game, a good football team that gets the ball out fast from the defensive end. Yes, he will have an impact, but he's not going to dominate the game. And I need him in places where he can dominate the game. And he has the skill set. That what makes him could be generational. Because there has not been a guy that comes out and played linebacker, middle linebacker, and was rated the top run stopping middle linebacker in college football. So he has the instincts. Then he can get to the passing. I always say this. If Bobby Wagner, when he played this 1 year, he played for Sam. 2 years ago, he played. 3 years ago, he played for the Rams, and he was over 30 years old. If Bobby Wagner in that year could have 130, I think he had 128 tackles. He had 6.5 sacks, blitzing from the middle linebacker position, and he had 2 interceptions. If Bobby Wagner, who don't have 4.3 speed like Micah, can have those stats, you don't think Micah could have got those same 130 tackles? You don't think Micah could have got 17 sacks? Because we're not going to play him on at middle linebacker. On obvious rundown, we're going to put him on defensive end so he can affect the game that way. And sometimes we're going to bring him from the middle. 17.5 sacks, but he averaged 14 now. And you don't think he could have got 3 interceptions with his speed and his instincts? That's what I'm saying to you. A young Michael Parsons, if we get an old Bobby Wagner could do that, a young Michael Parsons could do something. And my challenge to the young man is a 3-4 defense where they can move him around will make him generational. And this is not no stab at Michael Parsons. Go back and watch my video that I talk about Michael Parsons. And one of the video I got with Michael Parsons with the lion on there, talk about new role, new expectations, and to dominate what we need from him, and for learning how to dominate from the front. He's going to lead the charge in our running game getting better. Michael Parsons. Because when he dedicated himself to stop the run, everybody else is going to follow the line. And getting 20 sacks or pressures does not make you generational. Because we done seen that. But being able to be a monster in the middle of the field, play linebacker, rush the quarterback like defensive lineman, and affect every snap of the game because you got to watch him, that is generational. Now, I'm an LT guy, but if Michael Parsons uses the skills that he has in that manner I just said, LT can't touch him. And y'all can get mad about that if you want. Because he then will be something that it's out of this world. People forget that LT played middle linebacker a little bit in his rookie years, sophomore year. A second year, and then they brought Harry Carson and Reasons took over, but he didn't like middle linebacker because he said it was too much responsibility, and he wasn't suited to play that, but he could play it. Again, Micah has that ability, and what I want him to do is, I want him to unleash him as a queen on the chessboard now after he gets his money. Because he's probably going to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL per year, average per year. So you're not trying to chase money now. He's trying to chase greatness. He's trying to chase uniqueness. He's trying to chase what's going to make this team better, what's going to make his teammates better, and what is going to make him a prototype. And when people start talking about players that can do multiple things. But he got to accept that. And it's not trying to make him bad mouthing him. I wouldn't even talk about it if I didn't think he could do it. People wouldn't even talk about it if he can't do it. And that's already in rare territory when people talk about that you could be 130 tackle, 17 sack, 3 interception guy. And if you're getting that many tackles, you know how many forced fumbles you're going to make? When people talk about you in that area, that's not bad mouthing you. That's challenging you because they believe that you could be that. And that is what the 3-4 would do to maybe to put Micah at outside linebacker, bring him from the middle, do some stunts with him, have him drop in the flat. What teams would do if next thing you know Micah drops in the flat and you trying to throw the ball to Saquon Barkley like they try to do it. Next thing you know, he got a guy to run 4-3. You're not even going to try Michael Parsons. I don't care if you got Saquon out there. We're not saying he's going to do that on a constant basis, but the surprise of him doing everything will make this defense special. The queen on the chessboard. The other people, when they're going against you, they have to find your queen, and they got to know what your queen is doing at all times. Because if they don't, it can mess up all of their plans and their attack on you. And that's what we want. We want Micah to affect the game. And I think a 3-4 would make it easier for him on the run game. It would put him in situations where he could dominate. Last point about that. I talked about on the Big Show uh, day, and I was talking about Michael Jordan. And I'm not saying Michael Parsons is Michael Jordan. I'm talking about any great player. But let's talk about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a great player in scoring, but even the Detroit Pistons would tell you this. What helped Michael is when they were playing him earlier, he had an offense that basically was an ISO offense where they could load up on him and they could beat him up. Then he got the triangle. The triangle made aware that he got more one-on-one coverage because the triangle and the way it positioned and moved him around and it stressed the defense, so you had a hard time double teaming him and loading up on him. And it got him at least 7 to 10 shots that were easy shots that he can make with his eyes closed. But the structure of the offense made it easier and harder for you to key on and defend him. This is what we're talking about when you formulate a defense. You want to make your defense when they try to defend Micah, they're letting up something else, and then they got to say, no, we got to change that. That is what when you have a destructive force on your team and you utilize them in a way that they can affect everything that you do. And then you get the offense so focused on trying to handle that person that they get out of their total rhythm of what they really are. But you just put them in one spot and let him go. You can control his effectiveness of the game. I want him to say, if he don't get a sack, that he dominated the game with tackles. If he don't get a sack, he got 12 tackles, 2 strip fumbles, and an interception. I want him to say that this guy was a factor in what you had to do. And I think the 3-4 will unleash some of those things as well as the 4-3. But I just hope he feels the role. I hope this defense staff said, hey, you got your bag now. Let's go make you one of the most unique players in NFL history. So that's where I think the 3-4 is. Where they're going to run multiple. I know for a fact that they're going to run multiple. And this is going to help. And I think Solomon Thompson and Osa are going to be dominant in that type because they're going to have big ears. So that's where I feel the 3-4 is going to be with Micah. The next topic we're going to talk about is about Jalen Ramsey. And we got to try to finish up quick because got to get out of here. But we're going to talk about Jalen Ramsey. And we got some others that we was talking about. And, I said something earlier about we had some guys out there that was out there that we were trying to get to. We had some conversation about some of these other guys that we thought that we had some other conversation about Jair Alexander. And I wish I could put, my computer freezing up, but I want to put what I posted about Jair Alexander. Jair Alexander has been. First of all, I want to preface this that I got some. Listen, one thing I want to say, one of my best friends in my life that I've been friends with over 50 years now. Great football guy. He's going to be. We're planning on going to the Green Bay game in Dallas. If anybody out there can shoot Coach Marv some tickets, that'd be great, man. There's 3 guys coming. I need 3 tickets, but we're going to the game in the Green Bay Packers game and the Cowboy game. I think it's September the 28th. That's what we're planning on doing. Be my first time in Dallas. My first time going to a live Dallas game in the home stadium. I'm playing, playing at home. My friend is one of the friends coming. He's been a Green Bay fan for all our lives, and he likes Green Bay because they're green and gold. Well, he gets on my case because I've been a Cowboy fan, but he said, "Man, you should like the green and gold because my high school was green and gold, my college was green and gold, so I've been green and gold all my life when it came to the teams I played for. My first coaching job was at my high school, old high school, green and gold. So, but I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. He been saying that Jair Alexander, when he played in the last couple of years, wasn't that good. And then when you look at the list of injuries he had, it's one thing when you miss time and you say, okay, he had maybe a knee and he was trying to recover from the knee. He done had major injuries on every part of his body. His shoulder, back. Anytime you got a guy with a back problem, knee. I think it's foot. So, I mean, listen, man. He's missed 20 games in the last 2 years. He's missed double-digit games in the last 2 years. And he's playing one of the, and I don't know if somebody that wish boss was out here that said, listen, man, he's playing the most athletic position I believe that you got to be in football. Cornerback. And the Cowboys and we taking him. I did my spill on Diggs last week, my last show. Please go back and look at that. I don't think Diggs gonna be here either. Y'all can shoot me with that, but I don't think he's gonna be here either. I think that feeling is coming to a head. And I'm gonna go right back to say what I said about Diggs again. This documentary he's doing is great for Diggs. I'm not saying Diggs shouldn't be. I'm not saying Diggs is a bad football player, but this documentary he's doing, that's a plan by him, which is a good plan for the narrative not to be set on him, for him to get a chance to set the narrative and saying, I can be healthy enough to play for his next team. Because his contract he signed 3 years ago had this out to get out of this contract. He may play this year. He won't be here next year. And they got the same problem with Diggs that they got with Jair Alexander. Jair Alexander signed a extension, I think, right before Diggs. And he signed an extension, and he ain't played, missed 20 games in 2 seasons. Diggs done missed a season and almost a half. You see why these teams want to get off? They like, man, we paid for something, and we ain't got. And both of them got the same type of thing. The reason why I say about Zion and Alexander, he's got a multitude of knee, back, and shoulder is not good recipe for a long-term or anything like he was before. Second thing, same thing with Diggs. Diggs is coming off this is not a, if it was just an ACL, this is a bone graft thing where they got to foster bone growth. Man, we know how this go, man. This is rare. This is not the normal knee injury. It may turn out for a short term, but it may not be long term, his career. And the Cowboys are not going to guarantee more money on Diggs Carter. He already paid him all his guaranteed money. It's very little left. They're not going to guarantee rest of that 91 million because that's what it's going to take for him to continue to keep on playing. You're going to have to roll the thing over and guarantee some more money. That's not going to happen. And he's not happy with his contract because he knows it's done. And he's going to want some more of that guaranteed money. So he's trying to foster. So if they do release him, he could go to another team and get more guaranteed money. I'm not saying that that's bad. That's business. But we ought to be not blind to see that this was happening. Diggs signed a bad contract. He signed a good contract in a way that he signed the contract because he needed a contract, and if he didn't sign the contract, he would probably lost that $23 million that he got for guaranteed. But that $91 million, only $40 million, I think $40 million was guaranteed out of that 90, and that was including his salary for his fourth year. It really was a 3-year, $24 million contract. And his third year is over. It's in the third year. They're not going to go back and guarantee more of that money. Not on a rare condition like he got. And they may be lying that he's not working out, but if they even question that he didn't work out or didn't do something, would you guarantee more money on a contract and push it out longer? If you even have that kind of question, no. Let's be realistic. So I understand when we talk about we need a cornerback. I can understand. I'm not shooting down when people say they need a cornerback. I get a little upset when we start just because there's a name out there, we just jump on the name. And I'm going to tell you again, man, how you make your name. Bland made his name by playing. Was Bland a household name when you came in? He got his name by playing. I would guarantee you the corner, the rookie corner, the two rookie cornerbacks, the slot corner and the rookie cornerback that started all year for Philadelphia and they got to the Super Bowl and one of them got an interception in the Super Bowl and they played outstanding. I would guarantee you nobody in the football land was talking about, oh, these guys are going to be dominant. There were probably people talking about, oh man, they need to go get them a slot corner. This is the reason why Samuel Jr. hadn't been picked up because he's coming off an injury. Teams want to know how he's going to play coming off the injury. He's coming off surgery. So I understand where y'all coming from. But let's don't be hasty. No, and I don't believe in this stuff. Well, we got him. We're gonna have him for a couple of days, until the other guy come out. Man, you think this guy's gonna come in for peanuts? Because he gonna want to sign because of his name. And he's an ego guy. He's not gonna come here and then otherwise step to the side. You still got to worry about getting people who fit in your culture ego-wise. You can't have that. So you say, well, Coach, what we gonna do? I mean, yeah, we got that may go into my last topic. We talking about some of the people talking about the linebacker that the Cincinnati Bengals released. Man, we gonna talk about. Man, we got listen, man. And I'm not saying people out there don't know what they're talking about. I'm not going because I don't want to get into saying, what Coach think he talking down to people. No, I understand that everybody wants us to get players and get at, but we have to be sometimes less thirsty and say, okay, we're trying to figure out what we got here, and we feel good about what we got here. We just can't jumping all over the place. And veteran guys are coming in here, they're not even gonna sign with you if you talking about, oh, I want you to sign with a guy, this linebacker gonna sign here so he can sit on the sideline and let Murray play. And he gonna come in and spell somebody. They ain't with that. They're gonna be more of a problem than a help. Because they have no loyalty to the Cowboys. I understand where you're coming from. But I'm going to go again where I think Jalen Ramsey is the guy. You want to help your cornerbacks? And I know for a fact that I just talked to somebody yesterday that says Jalen Ramsey already wants to play safety. He understands his IQ and his ability is a dominant safety where he can make plays. I've already told you this guy with this swag, with his eyes on the ball, will be trouble to defenses. Two things that get undervalued, and I keep referencing back because I learned a lot from Boss. Bosses always said that people devalue the running back and they overvalue tight end. Now I think good tight ends get defense coordinators hell. I can tell you that right now. You got a good tight end, man. It could be because he could be it could be if he could do both things. It's hard. He can be a very big weapon. But people devalue safeties, and I haven't seen a defense yet that got safeties that they have all outstanding years. I watch our Cowboys. I keep trying to tell you, Dan Quinn's first year, Kearse and Wilson had their best year. Our defense was the best. That was the best defense we had in Dallas with Dan Quinn. I ain't saying the other was bad. But ever since our safety fell off, we fell off. And I really believe this team is a dynamic safety away from being an outstanding defense. And I'm not trying to, say guys are poo-poo or man, forget about Hooker or forget about Wilson. I'm not saying that. But Jalen Ramsey, and I really believe Jalen Ramsey and what's the other safety? Y'all got in the chat. Y'all tell me the other safety. And I don't know, man. I got a senior moment. Hooker and Wilson to be on the sideline. Because those two guys are 6'3", both of them can fly. Your range, your wingspan. Both of them get hit. You're going to get faster at safety. You're going to get bigger wingspan at safety. You're going to get better coverage at safety. Man, they can change the defense. And I always say this. If you want our young corners to be better, you want a Bland to be better, put him back there with a guy that is a boss back there that can run that back end. Where he could take chances because you're going to be scared to try Jalen Ramsey if he even close in the vicinity because he could take it the other way. You're going to make the confidence of your defensive backs a whole lot better. And I already got word that this man wants to be here and he is willing to be a safety. And yes, thank you so much, Star, for coming in, man. I've been waiting on you. Thank you so much for coming in and tuning in with me. Yes, you're right. Curse had that one good year, and Donald had that a breakout year that got him a contract. But the defense was better, and ever since they fell off, those guys, man, and just check this out. When Donald have had good games in the last couple of years, our defense played better. They are so they are so safeties have two great jobs. One, they're instrumental in the pass game, but they're instrumental in the run game. I've always tried to tell people this. When you chalk it up a blocking scheme, the block for the safety is of something that's coming off a combo or somebody that's coming off that is a cleanup block. It's not a direct line say, hey, this guy goes safety. And if they're good enough to be able to diagnose, they could be 10 yards off the ball, but if they're good enough to diagnose, they could come up and score a run game. But I think you would put this team over the top. And I'm not saying Hooker, but Hooker don't make enough plays for me. He ain't as physical enough, and he ain't making enough plays. He came here as a ball hawk. That's where we talked about Hooker back in his heyday. But that's no longer the case. I ask you this, and y'all think y'all been watching the games just as well as I watched them. Tell me how many times that a team tried to go over the top on our corners and Hooker, the safety, broke the play up. Or he got an interception down the field playing the ball in the air. Not when the man threw the ball across the middle and he was standing there playing the ball in the air. Wanye Thomas. I knew he was coming. I had to see him on. I think Wanye Thomas and Jalen Ramsey, both about 6'3", both of them can fly. But that may not happen. Maybe I'm just whistling in the wind, but I can tell you right now, the guy's willing to play safety. And listen, I understand where he's going. I understand he would love to go want to go safety. Plus, he's got, like, you're right. Stargaze was right. He's a very high EQ player, and the thing he would bring Star more than anything else, a swag and a leadership swag in that secondary. Built with a whole lot of confidence and knows what it takes as a team to get to the Super Bowl. See, a marathon runner don't know how a marathon really feels till he gets finished his first marathon. Then he understands, because he don't go out and practice 26 miles. That's why I used to tell my team, you don't know how it takes to get to a championship game, to get to the final game, or get through a football game until you get there and get to the point and overcome adversity and get to the finish line. Then you can't take that away from you no more. You'll know how it feels, that last little inch to get to that finish line. It won't be surprising to you. This team doesn't have nobody on it that's gotten to the finish line, that have climbed Mount Everest. Once the thing that's going to be hard for teams to beat Philadelphia this year is because Philly got that thing where we know how to what we need to do and how to get it right to get to the finish line. I don't think they a bunch of garbage, but that swag of getting to the finish line, you got to take that from them because they know what we need to do to get to the finish line. That's why it's very important that Schottenheimer teaches his team how to get to the finish line. Once you teach them that and you stay on top, then they know it themselves. But you can't allow them learn themselves. You got to teach them how to get to the finish line. Don't you? That's why Schottenheimer said that we're trying to teach them how to practice in his first press conference. He's trying to teach them what it takes, how you got to prepare to get to the finish line. And what better way to get a guy to come in here in the back end that got that swag that, listen, you don't think the corners won't listen to him when he give them cornerback advice? Jalen Ramsey? You think when Jalen Ramsey come to play the tight end, you think they're going to throw the ball to the tight end? You don't think he won't make Wanye Thomas a better player? When you got a guy that's got his eyes above, I'm telling you, if you want to do something, that's the move to make. Now I understand some people talking about one tech. I got a feeling about that. Yes, if we go in this thing and we go into training camp when we start knocking heads and we feel the one tech is not doing what it do, we may need to do this. But I think the 3-4. But I think Rodgers and the other guy that's been here on their second year, for what we're asking the one tech to do, if I pay attention to detail, is better with our run game. Again, go back to my thing about the run game. Brian brought up something, because the run game off the edges is what's killing us. And I don't even think it's off the edges. I'm gonna tell you what, and as I said in the last when I did the show about the run game, it's about will. I don't believe our team was dedicated to stopping the run. I think we were dedicated to talk about it. I think we were dedicated to say, okay, y'all need to get a stop the run, and then we get dedicated to go get his pass. I watched that in Buffalo. I watched how we came off the ball when Buffalo threw their couple of passes and how much vigor we came off. And then in the run game, I watched people walking. I'll say it again. You could talk to anybody. Miami, for the last couple of years, has been a good, if you look at their stats, they've been a good run defending team. They got a very small defense, very small linebackers. They don't have no one tech, there's no monster. But guess what? Vangio was there. He left them with a mentality of that you ain't going to run the ball on us. That's what Eaglefoot's got to get here. Murray is trying to bring that thing here. But this run mentality of saying we're going to stop the run, know who got to come with that mentality and got to come with it up front? It's two guys that got to come with it up front. One guy's already talked about it. The other guy got to lead the charge from the front. And guess who that is? Michael Parsons. Because if he leads it from the front, there ain't no any other defense end got to follow his lead. So I ain't giving no excuse about they ain't got no one tech. Because I done seen teams stop the run and they ain't had to have. Jordan Davis is about to get cut in Philadelphia. He'll be gone next year. Didn't sign his 5th-year extension. They use another guy that got a contract in Philly, got a contract this year in New England that's half the size of Jordan Davis, but was a monster in the run game and got a big contract in New England. And he took Jordan Davis' time, and Jordan Davis didn't even get a 5th-year extension. They didn't even sign his 5th-year option. So being big, what that mean? Tony Casillas, if you want to talk about it, I hate to go back that way, but Tony Casillas was our best run-stopping defensive lineman back in the heyday. And he was smaller than Lee, Lett, and Maryland. But he was the dog when it came to the run game. And we had small linebackers in a time where teams ran more power football. But they had a philosophy that you weren't going to run the football against us. Until we get that philosophy, that's what we got to get. Now, we can talk about it. But had we really vigorous talked about it as a team, we mentioned it. But that should be the number one focus here. We'll worry about the past later on. So that's what I feel about others. But I want to say something about others right quick. Cowboy Nation, we're going to be, everybody who comes out there, they're going to say that's coming to the Cowboys. And it's okay. I know we got bad history with our organization. It's okay for our organization to say they like what they got here. But now the pressure falls on them. And that leads me to my last point. And y'all stick with me. We're going to cover this last point. Then I'm going to let y'all go. I know y'all want to go to these other content. I like to say church and all these other people that's coming in my chat, man. Thank you so much, man, for supporting Coach, man. You know I'm going to support y'all. And I'm going to continue to support y'all. Regardless if I got my own channel, I'm still supporting y'all, man. And thank you for supporting me. The other thing was trust our coaching. Mike Tomlin put it even better. Mike Tomlin said he don't run away from coaching. He don't run from coaching. When he was on the pivot, he said that. And that was one of the best statements that he could ever make, that he don't run from coaching. And what he meant by that, he don't run from trying to make a player better and working on a player. He don't need ready-made microwave dinners. He can get in the kitchen and cook. This is a brand new coaching staff. They were handpicked because Schottenheimer said something early in the. See, we forget about what he said. He said we're going to have to do better at player development. You're right, because our players get to a certain point and then they falling off because we're not sticking to developing players consistently through the duration of their stay. The worst thing you could do for a player is to say, oh, he's good, and now I don't need to continue to challenge him to get better and keep on training him to get better. If once you stop, that's as far as they're going to go. As I told y'all before, I've said this again. I don't have the thing to bring up this time. In all my shows, go back in my shows, because I keep telling these acronyms. I say coaches cannot make talent. They can acquire it, they can get it, they can draft it, they can get it on their team, they can evaluate to see if they think that this got talent. They can't make a talented player. Only the mom and dad can make a player. But when the coaches get the talent, they got 4 things that they must do with talented or whatever they feel talented players. Because good players can't take bad coaching. They got to motivate the talent. They got to refine the talent skills, the talented player skills. They got to hold that talented player accountable. And then they got to put that talented player in the right spots, in the right positions for that talent to shine. That's all they're supposed to do. And if you got a coaching staff that's missing on any of those things, you're going to underachieve. And we have underachieved in Dallas these last 5 years. Yes. Somewhere down the line, we missed one of those things. Yes, we have not used some players in the right spots. Yes, we have not motivated the players because we don't have discipline. We don't have inconsistencies. Yes, we have not held team players accountable all the time like we're supposed to do. Sometimes that's like being an asshole sometimes. And yes, we hadn't refined some skills or some players because some players still doing the same stupid stuff that they've been doing. They're great players, but they're still doing the same mistakes. But that's their jobs. And we got to trust that coach because listen, I'm not advocating this coaching staff and saying that they're the best coaching staff since the team that won 20 Super Bowls. I ain't saying that. I like their resumes. I like what they're coming here. I can say that their resumes ain't no guy that just been getting out of rehab. I can say that these guys ain't most of these guys on this coach staff has got some valid skins on the wall. They're not guys that were some assistant coaches someplace and they never had a head, and they never had a position coach job. And at least I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt for me to trust them to say, I trust your eye because listen, Cowboy Nation, if you don't trust the coaches, we can forget about this season. We can't coach them from over here. And we got to hold their feet to the fire. Because somewhere on this team, they're going to have to make some players. I've always told you, to get to a championship, you got to have 70 players and you got to have a team that where most of the players have career years. Now, when I say career years, some of y'all will say, oh, everybody going to be Pro Bowl. No. Career years mean your best season ever for you. And everybody, most of your players do that, and our stars do stay in their career, stay at their top level, we got a chance. We got a big chance to do some things. Big chances. But we're going to have to coach some players up. Some guys, we got to untap their talent. Some of these guys that they say they like guys, there's a reason why they say they like them. So now it's the job for their coaches to unleash that talent. Because if I got to get a coach where I got to continue to go find the guy that's ready made, I got to still go get microwave dinners for somebody who can't cook. And I got to find all the ingredients because they can't cook. Then what I need them for? Because eventually I'm going to need him to come through with somebody. And if he don't, we done. So all the coaching in the world, they got to get some of these players before them. And I hate to go back to Philadelphia because everybody say, well, coach, don't go back to the Cowboys, old Cowboys. I'm going to some of the recent history. Recent. Kansas City say, hey, man, we let a cornerback go. That was all pro last year, but we back in the Super Bowl with the next guy that came up. Because, listen, the Kansas City ownership told Andy Reid is, we can't pay everybody. You got to evaluate talent, bring them in here, and what you got to do is get that out of the talent, and we got to find ways to put it together and get guys to perform. And guess what he said? That's how we're going to win. Same thing New England did in their heyday. Same thing all these great teams. They didn't go out and inquire everybody. They coached. Listen, that's why they in this profession. They got to develop players to come. And if you see something in the player and you can see it come out of that player, you can see it there. If you can't untap it out that player, you should feel bad as a coach. Sometimes you're going to be wrong. You ain't going to be right all the time. Sometimes the guy just ain't got it in to bring it out. But I think, again, like Schottenheimer was saying, and like all the coaches say, we need the right type of person that if we need to tap into it, we can bring it out. Well, you got to be, but you got to be tough. And I'm going to say it again. Schottenheimer don't need people to like or love him. If you want this team to be respected, this team to have discipline, to do it yourself, and to be able to get the talent out of them, is more important that the team respects and trusts you than like or love you. You can discipline people better if they respect and trust you than when they like and love you. They'll run through a wall also when they respect and trust you. Because they know you, they know what you're saying is a victory on the other side of that wall. They might not like you, but they understand what you're telling them is the truth. They might not like the truth, but they know you're going to be straight up, and what's on the other side of the wall is the respect factor that they know that the victory on the other side. They might not even want to even sit around you nowhere. But I've seen players that like and love the coach not do nothing, didn't run through that wall because they say, man, I like and love him. He ain't gonna stop loving me. He ain't gonna stop liking me. But when you respect and trust a person, you don't know if they're gonna flip or not. But you know you respect them enough to know if they do flip, they're gonna really flip. So that's what we need to get. So let's trust these coaching staff. Let's put the emphasis on them to say, I have not heard nobody in our Cowboy land say, man, it's their job to get Terrence Steele to play better. It's his job to get Tyler Guyton to be better. If he can't do that, offensive line coach, get us another offensive line coach. I don't hear nobody saying that. It's the defensive line job to get these guys ready to play. Did anybody say that? Because what we're going to do is try to get some more defensive linemen in here. And if he can't do a job, they're going to be bad too, because I'm going to say it again. Good players can't take bad coaching. And if you think you can go in there and say, well, these guys that play other places, destroy them out there, they'll coach themselves, you're not going to beat the good teams like that. You know, you might beat some of the sorry teams. You might go so far, but you're going to be sad again when it gets to playoff time. If you get to the playoffs. Because we found out when they were respecting, we on lame duck status. I told you last year, once stuff to start going off the track, it's well because there was no trust and respect there. They liked and loved, but there wasn't no trust and respect because they guys on 1-year contracts. They might have liked and loved them, but they didn't trust and respect them. So again, people, let's trust our coaches. And let's let these guys at least get in training camp and find out where we at. And then we make the moves accordingly. But some of these young players are going to surprise us. I want to say thank you again, man. Man, this is the first time, man. I know y'all in the chat really having conversations, man, and I'm sorry, man. But listen here, man. 95 comments is in this chat, man. That is amazing. This is the first time I've ever had this amount of comment. I'm just going to go through some things about Stenton Parsons. Yes, man, we need to go ahead and Stenton Parsons. Listen, man, Stenton Parsons going to get his money. Let's don't worry about that, man. The Cowboys always do that with players that don't have the right to go no place else. Think about it, man. If he had the right to go someplace else, or he was in a position where in the next couple of days he's going to be a free agent, his contract has already been done. You see how fast Osa's contract got done, ain't it? Didn't his contract get done before he got on the free agent market? Because his contract was over. And he was about to be able to talk to other teams. You see how fast the contract got done, right? Tell me when the Cowboys ever bid against anybody for a free agent. I'll wait. Dak Prescott was already signed. He couldn't even talk to nobody else. Everybody that was signed was already he could talk. Everybody who was not signed and could eventually start talking to somebody else, watch how fast their contract got done. They just dragged this stuff out just to be dragging and to end up paying the people. They already got the parameters of what they're going to pay. They just dragged this stuff out just to be contrary. Well, they try to be a-holes. So don't worry about that, man. Let's don't even focus on that. It's important that he be here so he can get his contract so he can get started because it's important that he's here at everything because he got to dominate from the front. So, yes, Solomon Thomas is going to be a very good part. He's very close to the defensive line coach. The defensive line coach is very close. He's a former first round pick, man. He's going to give you the dirty work to what you need to give you. And it's not always about numbers for guys to give you good work and give you stuff that you want them to do. So, yeah, I believe Michael Parsons could be a catalyst of this defense versus the run because I done seen it before. The guy Michael Parsons got run stopping capabilities. That's what he was best at in college. He knows about stopping the run. Somewhere down the line, he got so intoxicated with this pass rush thing. But he can listen. I have seen him play the run defense even better. Let me tell you something. And I hate to go there and getting off path again. And listen, I think it was okay for DeMarcus Lawrence to leave here because I think Michael needed to go to that role of being the leader guy. Now, it's heavy to crown. It's a different type of stuff. But how many plays DeMarcus Lawrence ran down from the backside? Multitude of plays. You mean tell me Michael Parsons with 4.3 shouldn't even be better than DeMarcus Lawrence at that? Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Him being affecting every offensive snap. The more plays that he is a part of that you got to worry about him blowing up, the better off our defense is. But if you get him in a spot where they can say, hey, we only going to let him affect the plays when we having a 5 or 7 stop drop. Other than that, we're going to run away from him. We're going to run at him. We're going to double team him. Or we're going to run at him. He's not going to fight off the block as hard. We're going to run away from him. He's not going to chase. And I'm not saying these bad things, but this is what teams do to take his effectiveness out of the game. And that's what I think what a defense coordinator has to do. Let's unleash this beast in all type of ways where he can affect the game even more. And I think he can be that way. He must be that way. Because if he doesn't get to the point where he can be dominant on the run, he just like everybody else I done seen. I done seen some other guys just like him. Some better. So, because he's going to get to a point where they're going to say, hey, we're going to limit you in the pass rush. And what great players say? You can't stop me from dominating. I'm going to dominate with you. Hey, listen here. If it's selling popcorn, I'm going to sell popcorn better than you. I'm going to dominate some type of way. And that's what, go back to my video. It's 2 of them. One of them is a short video because my live screen went off. It's the video I got on in my folder that got Michael Parsons with the lion and saying, it's got the thumbnail with Michael on front of it. Look for the one that's about an hour or something long, and I unpack about Michael Parsons being able to lead from the front and being dominant in everything. And this is no shoot down on Michael Parsons. I'm a big fan of Michael Parsons, but everybody needs to be challenged. And I'm gonna say this one thing about I'm talking about Michael Parsons. He needs to be challenged because I'm gonna tell you something else. it's a lot of cowboy land out there who's fakers and perpetrators that all want Michael Parsons to get extension. But once it's known in Dallas, once you get extension, you become number one enemy, number one, because they put unrealistic expectations on you that you ain't gonna live up to, and they're gonna talk about your money, everything. They're gonna scrutinize you even more. I'm just preparing him for the scrutinization that he's finna get once he signs that contract. But I want him to understand that his responsibility to himself to be generational is more than what anybody else can put on it. And he has a responsibility to getting everything that God has given him in talent. And does that mean it's going to be easy? No. But when he sits back and people say, you are the man that we talk about, that's the prototype of the new age, defense is a weapon, then you'll thank Coach Marv for motivating you. Because you're going to look back later on, if you just go defense in, you're going to look back after you done got to the point where you got a little older and you can't do it. You're going to look back and say, man, I should have been all over the field. So, yes, man, I think he can do that, man. Hey, man, like I said, I like to think, man, Lou Stargazy coming into the chat, man. Thank you so much, man. One of the, hey, I've said this here. Those are the people that that I follow, man. That motivated me to do this thing. I'm on the technical side. I don't never say that my football knowledge is lacking, but the other learning this football knowledge from other people is a great thing, man. That I'm learning from other people, but them learning how to put shows together and do certain things, man. Anything, any of y'all out there that may have any uh ideas or say, hey, coach, have you tried this program out? You hear some music, here's some things you can use. Here's the thing, man. Send me those messages in my inbox, man. Send me those things. Send me a message. Say, hey, coach, man, I would like to talk about doing this and whatever, do that, man. I'm ready to take any help, man. Listen here, to be able to lead men or lead young men or to coach anything, you must be able to be a follower. You must be able to take advice from people and understand. That don't mean you don't be your own man. That means you got to be yourself. That's what I love about Schottenheimer. He's got to be himself. But I hope he's taking what he's seen in Dallas and what he has seen from other people and taking that and saying, hey, we got to build a new culture. And I always leave you with this. We're going back to the bill. If y'all think about culture, go back and see Coach Marv building the blocks of a culture. And I said all these things well before, we started talking about it. And if you look at it, and I'm always going to talk about this because we ain't got the training camp. Training camp is when your coaches really start being built. But it's physicality, and I may have those things up here where I can point them out, each one of them to you. When you talking about the 5 building blocks to a culture, Coach Marv has already had those things, man. He got to build physicality as a team. He's got to build discipline. That's another building block of building a great culture. He's got to build the thing that Michael Irvin was talking about, mental toughness. That's the third building block. Then he got to have coaching / leadership. He's been talking about leadership. He's been teaching them how to practice. Coaching / leadership is a part of the building blocks of a great culture. And then the last part is talent and doing something with that talent. He's got talented players, brain talent here for them to fit in this culture. And also, again, what I tell you about coaches, only thing they can do is 4 things with talent. Motivate it, refine it, hold it accountable, and put it in the right spots to be successful. If Schottenheimer could get these things in and listen, it's a work in progress, people. Culture was not built in 3 weeks in one training camp. It's going to be tested by players. It's going to be tested by media. It's going to be tested by everybody. It's going to be tested by adversity. It's going to be tested by success. But if he believes in it, he got to stick with it. Because if he stick with it, his players are going to trust and respect him. And remember, that's the most important thing. Trust and respect. It'll bring on like and love. But without it, things will fall apart without trust and respect. Thank you again, people out there. Man, thank y'all so much for being in the chat, man. Like I said, man, like, comment, subscribe. Um, I always want to leave here with this, man. I'm not, Coach, you need to try to get some more equipment out here. I know some of y'all gonna say, Coach, you can get some more equipment, but there's been a couple of people have tuned in here. But listen, um, I'm on the road of getting monetized. I'm trying to. I got a goal for when we get to July 1st to get to 350 subscribers or the 400. Right now I'm at almost 260 something, 200, almost 270. I'm trying to get to 400, 500. I just been in this thing for about 28, 29 days. But if you're feeling hard that you like this content and that you want to help the movement of this show, Coach Marv Real Talk, so I can take some of these funds and invest it in and getting the stuff I need for me to be able to give you more quality and a better presentation to my work. We're always going to keep touching on these points, but the show is made from you. As I said in my intro, as my intro said, the Dallas Cowboys. We are going to talk. We are America's team. It's all of us. All of us is going to take us to get to a championship. My cash app is on the screen here. $ PBS 222. If you're feeling your heart to drop $1 or drop $2, drop $1. Everything that you send is going to go back towards just working and making this channel better and getting better to give you content and work. I'm going to work for y'all and this Cowboy Nation regardless. And we always gonna be friends, and we gonna always push. We may not always agree, but we always gonna stay Cowboy fans. I leave you with this. Don't let outside people give you advice, give us advice, or start criticism, or start innuendos and rumors, so that because people that don't like us start all type of innuendos and rumors and give us narratives and put stuff in our head, and then we come back and we argue with family over somebody's opinion that don't like us. That's the dumbest thing to do in the world. Don't allow people to invent. We can be critical of ourselves to push, but don't let people that don't like us give us praise or give us something to get us off track. Until next time, salute.